3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, Tom, although it couldn't hardly be good morning.
Yeah, mate, yeah, we're a bit late tonight, aren't we? But we like to do our late night review show, don't we? So thank you everyone for joining us again. How are you doing, my friend?
Well, I was doing okay, but I need to buy Brad one of those ball gag things that you use in S&M.
You need to put him on a timer like an F1 stopwatch and go, Brad, you've had your 30 seconds, and then...
Yeah, exactly. I do. I need to get one of those. It's good thinking. Good thinking. Can I just say that I've never used a ball gag or whatever it's called, you know? So...
Good to make that clear to start the show, everyone, isn't it? And also to make it clear, I'm the same as Brad. I'll try not to go on a bit, mate.
Look, this could be one of the shortest series of shows that we do. And I will apologise again in advance to everybody because I'm not being allowed to put these up in like they normally do. StreamYard is having a little bit of a flutter at the moment. But hi, Prashant, thanks for joining us again. Let me just get rid of that in the top corner. I say a bit of a rush because it went on a bit long earlier. But yeah, so it could be a very short series because, of course, we could be knocked out next round.
We could. We have drawn the mighty Southampton away. What an average game we have got there. And I'm pretty sure because we got them in the fourth round not very long ago. What was it after we knocked Tottenham out with Mark De Vries? And then we lost 1-0 away. I think we lost 1-0 away at St. Mary's, and it was a Patrick Gerbrand own goal. So...
I'll go with you because all I remember with Southampton in the FA Cup is the fact that we beat them in the semi-finals.
Yes, of course, exactly. Yeah, and better days, mate, better days. I mean, that's why your Leicester shows take so long now because they're bad days. There's a lot to talk about.
Exactly. What did we do that season?
Well, did pretty well.
Wouldn't it? I think we did pretty well, didn't we? You know.
Yeah, it was hard to know because the world was shut down.
It felt like it, didn't it? But what I'm going to try and do is once we get started, is I'll put the matches up before. But we're going to start off by previewing the third round games. Not all of them. Reviewing the third round games. Not all of them, otherwise you'd need to have your sleeping bags with you. And then previewing... What, to be quite honest with you, I don't know if you've probably seen the draw. It's rather underwhelming.
Oh, I don't know. I think there's a few games we could pick out at the end to look at, which have got a few interesting connotations. But we'll save that to the end of the show, Chris. I've got a few angles for us. Don't you worry.
I'm sure you have. Right, let me just see if this is going to work. Yes, it does. There you go.
Perfect.
God for copy and paste, eh?
Yeah, gets you through a lot of typing, doesn't it?
It does. It looks very complicated. So I will go and edit it in a second. But let's get started. FA Cup third round day, or weekend rather, wasn't it? Let me ask you this, mate, because there's a lot of games that went to penalties, as we will see. Should we not still have... what's what I'm looking for?
Replays.
Replays, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah. I think we should. It's part of the spirit of the competition, isn't it? And it's better for the clubs, who are the smaller clubs in the competition. The fact you can have a replay, an extra round of money coming through you at a time where football, all the money is heading to the top. Like in a lot of businesses and other things in the world, it's all heading to the top, like 1 or 2%, including all the big six, right? So yeah, no, I think it's something that was very nice, made the competition a bit more special, having the replays. So yeah, I am disappointed they've come to this decision. I appreciate there is fixture congestion, don't get me wrong, but I think there's other ways you can get around that, rather than cutting off, the lifeline for a lot of small teams you could do with the money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a little bit sort of fed up with the too many games when you have two-legged semi-finals for the fucking fizzy pop. How shit is it? Cup.
Absolutely, yeah. It seems to be a bit unbalanced, doesn't it? I completely agree with that. I think you could really rework it. I would say, look, if you get to say the quarterfinals, at that point there shouldn't be any replays, right? It should just play through as if you go to extra time and then your penalties. You can structure it differently, can't you? And I'm not sure the structure is quite right yet. I mean, hopefully, because of the TV deal and obviously the games that we had this last weekend being quite exciting, that might encourage television operators to encourage the FA to look at bringing it back, because it's an extra round of good, interesting games then, isn't it?
It is. I mean, look, we're going to come, like I say, onto the draw there. It's below us, but we'll talk about Macclesfield in a second when we start to go through the game. But let's say that had ended in a draw, and look, they've got a Premier League team again in the next round, and they're at home again. But they're the story. Obviously, they are the story of they're a Phoenix club, but they've come back. It's a brilliant story, especially with what happened to their striker. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
And if they'd have got a draw, they'd have gone back to Selhurst Park and probably lost, if we're honest with you, because these clubs that when they've got banana skin matches, they'll put, like we did, make a lot of changes. Fucking hell, it's a draw. We've got to make sure about this, and they put a full team out. But that's probably the good point. Or they could get more money from that than they could have done from playing Brentford. That said, they may have got a game against Port Vale, which, probably, no disrespect to Port Vale, wouldn't have filled out the ground, or Salford, for example. So I guess there's arguments both ways, but with this, at least you do get some sort of guaranteed upset because the game's got to finish. So it's for the big team, it's the gamble about what do they do, make the changes and risk it, because bringing the players on later on in the game doesn't always guarantee you're going to win.
No, that's it, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like you say, the replay does give the big club a reset, doesn't it? I mean, Crystal Palace, they turned up and put quite a few 16-year-olds in their team, didn't they? And then you look at it and go, actually, yeah, okay, the Macclesfield are the underdogs. So if you're playing a youth academy for a lot of this, they're 16-year-olds playing against men, and there is that element as well, the physical element. So yeah, no, I can see it, because it isn't right now. They need to relook at it, don't they? But what they'll come up with, I don't know.
They do. We'll just catch up with the chats at the moment. So Prashant was in. Craig Gilbert is in as well. Hi, Craig. Prashant, Chris, I like how you use the Now album logos in your videos. Well, until they message me and say I shouldn't be using them. Takes me back to the days when we used to wait for a new one to come out. Hey, look, I'm old enough to remember now that's what I call music. No numbers, just now that's what I call music.
Oh, wow. The first one I had was number 18.
Oh my God! No, you were well behind. I mean, before that, we used to have the old Top of the Pops albums, which weren't Top of the Pops at all. They were. It was called Top of the Pops, nothing to do with the BBC show. And you used to get session singers covering, because they sounded like the artist would cover those songs. So I'm just showing my age now, aren't I? Blue Fox is in all the way from Canada. Hi, Bowen, mate, how you doing? And Dworsky. Used to love the fifth replays, etc. And I have to say that I have sobered up since Saturday night.
I was going to say you were drinking during the watch-along, Chris, and we were in an early kickoff game, so you can't remember the end of the night, can you? Because I asked you.
And that's the thing. I was there, and we had a meal as well. It's Wetherspoons. You got to have a meal. It's cheap, and it just fills you up. It's only the same price, probably, as getting a burger on the way home. And I'm thinking, why am I so sort of tipsy at one point and then getting drunk? And I forgot I'd had 2 bloody cans before I'd left, starting at 12 o'clock, you know.
You got to pace yourself, mate. You got to pace yourself. I've learned the hard way. I had a big one Christmas Eve where I was a little bit hungover Christmas Day.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's go through the third round. I'm not going to get here the matches that I discussed with you, and we'll split them up here. So we're going to start with Derby 1, Leeds 3. Probably not a surprise, that one.
No, not really. I mean, the interesting thing was obviously Derby got off to a really good start in this, but Leeds are quite resilient, aren't they? If you think the pressure the manager's been under, like a couple of months ago, and he's just seems to have lifted them somehow with that pressure on his own back, and they're playing some pretty good stuff at times as well, and being quite competitive in the Premier League, and putting the clubs like Wolves in trouble, right? So so it wasn't much of a surprise. I mean, I think Derby will feel a slight bit of disappointment that they couldn't face the challenge of going into the lead and holding on to this. But that's the Premier League quality to a T, isn't it?
Just interesting. Liverpool are playing 4-2-3-1 tonight.
Interesting, that, isn't it? Yeah, that game's on in the background right now. It's been a fascinating game between Barnsley and Liverpool, and it's not over yet.
No, it's still 2-1, I believe, isn't it?
Correct.
But I believe that an ex-Leicester player scored in this game.
I do believe so as well. I must be honest, Chris, you didn't send me this game to do the research on.
No, I didn't. No. We're not going to go in on it in great detail, but I do believe
it was JJ's 90th minute goal. Yeah, and obviously he's someone that's taken quite a bit of heat, hasn't he, from the Leeds fans. So I mean, look, I don't like to see our ex-players get a lot of heat. I'm not one of those that takes glory in seeing other people fail, even if we haven't got on well with them here. Do you know what I mean? So I'm quite happy for him to get a goal, and hopefully it pushes him forward.
Portsmouth 1, Arsenal 4. Made a bit of hard work of it, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Especially they went 1-0 down as well, which is the interesting thing. A lot of the underdog teams sort of, took the lead. I actually predicted this when I said to a couple of my mates that there'll be a 3-goal win for Arsenal. So I should have put a bet on this one if I was a betting man.
Indeed, and if you were a betting man, you'd be very near to China.
Hey, there we go, guys. He's back.
Hey, that's
your brain's still working after all that booze, mate.
Oh yes, you'd expect and this is the thing with these potential banana skins is that they're going to come at you.
Yep,
and it's how you respond. But Arsenal, look, the double is on, I guess, for them. Hull 0, Blackburn 0, an all-championship match there, with Hull going through on penalties.
Yeah, I mean, nothing in this was. I mean, both teams have got bigger fish to fry, haven't they? Hull is still trying to look up towards the top 6, and Blackburn is still really trying to look over their shoulder a little bit, aren't they? So, yeah, I think both clubs will just be happy to get through this with very, no injuries and all the rest of it. And, that's all that matters, really. There's bigger fish to fry for them in the league.
Yeah, indeed. Swansea 2, West Bromwich Albion 2. I mean, Swansea not doing very well. West Bromwich Albion obviously just sacked the manager last week. I'm presuming it was a standing, or obviously, a coach that took the team out. But the manager scraped it 5-6 on penalties.
They do. I mean, Swansea have done all right at home, Chris. Their away forms were woeful, but their home form's actually been very good since Vital Mira took over, or Vital Matos, sorry. I mean, so I think they'll be quite disappointed to concede the 2 to West Brom. Obviously, were in a little bit of limbo at that time. They have got a new manager now, which is interestingly an appointment similar to what they did with Mason. Someone who's not really done a bit of management, but he's mostly been a coach throughout his career. So they're giving him an opportunity here to be the head manager, head coach at this time. It's quite an interesting decision, that, for me. It's a bit of a gamble.
Indeed. And then we've got Norwich absolutely demolishing Walsall. I'm trying to think what Walsall, what league they're in.
They're in League 2. They're near the top, but they've got quite a small squad, and their fans are quite concerned with the players that are leaving at the moment because they've got a lot of loanees.
Right. And then we have West Ham, who are probably glad to get through this one against QPR.
Well, yeah, I mean, West Ham are struggling, aren't they? Especially at home because there's not a good atmosphere there right now. I don't think they really needed the extra time like any club does, really, when you've got a lot going on outside of it. But QPR gave a good account for themselves for a team that lost quite a few players to injury last week as well. So, yeah, I think QPR will be quite disappointed. They didn't take it to penalties, that one, but West Ham did enough on the day.
They did. Sheffield United. Now, this is one of the games we discussed. Mansfield 4. I mean, it was a good game, I would imagine. 7 goals. But Sheffield United, I mean, maybe the Chris Wilder effect isn't working as well as it has done in the past.
Well, his post-match comments were interesting, Chris, because he was starting to call out his own players. Would you believe it? I mean, he said that he wanted a lot of the players that played in that game to show him what they could do to get into the first team equation, right? Then after the game, he came after Andre Brooks and said Andre Brooks played where he wanted, and he said Seriki he accused of not doing what he should do. So basically, he basically said he wasn't doing what he instructed him to. So that was interesting because you think he's gone back in there and he's trying to get this momentum going. There is some frustration from Wilder. Probably they haven't got as far up the table as he would like. And I mean, they got caught out by a very, very disciplined and a very good counter-attacking team in Mansfield, especially with the 2 goals coming from an ex-Sheffield United Academy youngster as well in Reed, who made his debut for Sheffield United when he was 16. So went back to his hometown club he supported and put them on the chopping block.
I mean, I noticed they were 1-0 up. Then they went 1-1. Then it was 2-1 at half time. I see Bamford got his goal. Any news, on him stopping at Sheffield United?
Yeah, he signed his new contract there, a new 18-month deal, Chris. Yeah, so that's been done because it's a funny one, that, isn't it? Because I do think he probably questioned, do I go somewhere else? And he would have had a bit of interest, some other championship clubs, without a doubt.
One in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know, right? But I think for him, he's made the right call because it would be a very bad look to go there, get yourself in the window, and then bugger off, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Do you think? Although they didn't, he could argue, well, they didn't give me a long contract to start with, but there you go. I mean, do you think Sheffield United will not be totally disappointed to be out? Because they've got bigger fish to fry, haven't they?
I think with Wilder and his standards, I think he will be disappointed to be out because I think he would feel the team and using the squad depth they should have over a team in League One. That isn't like the most affluent League One club in Mansfield, is it? They've primarily been a League Two club, the majority of their football league status. I think he'd be quite disappointed because the team he put out there, I mean, they still had a few first team players in there. So there probably should have been enough. But this is the danger, isn't it, with the FA Cup? Even if you make 1 or 2 changes, and I'll talk more about that when we get to Forest and other teams like this, you can get yourself in a difficult position and then you're scraping your way back into it, aren't you? And I think that's the problem they had in this one.
Indeed. The second game that we've also got down to talk about as well, Man United Brighton. Oh dear. It just goes from bad to worse. The Manchester United, the club that keeps on giving.
Yeah, exactly. Welbeck's 8th goal against Manchester United since he left Old Trafford. Do you think now how they could do with someone like that, especially his experience when you look at how Manchester United are at the moment? And there's really a trend, isn't there, going on at Man United right now, where I even look at some of the players that are left. Marcus Rashford this weekend went and won the Cup, didn't he, with Barcelona? And there's a lot of fingers pointed at him. Anthony, who's gone away, after being a big signing and gone and is doing pretty well over where he's gone to. And you think, is it really the players? I mean, Sancho's not been great. Okay, he's one you could argue has been a problem somewhere else. But is it the club has got a DNA problem at Manchester United and it constantly gets forced on them? And I do wonder, they can change all the managers in the world, but like Leicester in some ways, the problem we got now, until we change the DNA behind the scenes of how we operate, I don't know what use it's particularly going to do, Chris, and I think these results will keep coming for them. That's Brighton's 3rd win in a row at Old Trafford.
Do you think they were wrong to get rid of Amorim?
I think they were wrong not to back him as a manager. I think treating him as a head coach when he'd been a manager at Sporting had done a remarkable job there because he could identify his own players, sort out his own medical staff and all the rest of it. I think they didn't give him enough control because, by all accounts, he came out and said that he wanted certain players and they didn't get them. But they signed other players like Cunha and Mbemo, and spent a lot of money on them. So there's obviously a disconnect there, isn't there? And I think the bigger the club nowadays, it seems to be more of a disconnect, ironically.
There does. And look, it was an all Premier League tie as well. I'm just looking. I mean, Brighton at the moment, they are sat in 11th, so it's a sort of season for them.
Yeah.
We will discuss it at the end, but they could go on a bit of a run here, couldn't they?
They could. They've signed Pascal Gross back, haven't they, from Dortmund? And he's obviously been an experienced player that's played with the club before. And we talk about Brighton for their young and up-and-coming players, don't we? How they progress players and make them better. But we don't talk about how they're very good at getting people like James Milner in there. You know, these one or two experienced lads. They had the Lallana for a while, didn't they? So they've got a very good balance at knowing when they need a bit of experience. And it's interesting how Gross has come in at this time. And I think that could, like you say, boost in the second half of the season.
Yeah. Dworski is, why can't we just have one cup competition? We should scrap the League Cup and push the FA Cup more. They're not going to scrap the League Cup because it is a way of getting into Europe. If we scrap that, they'd probably. I mean, look, remember when we used to be sort of top dogs in it and we were sort of up there every time? No, the big clubs were interested, and then somebody saw Leicester getting into and Tottenham liked that getting into Europe because of it, and they're suddenly thinking, oh, hang on a second. And then you've got the Papa John's Trophy, and you've got all that for lower leagues. But when everybody is saying, and I suppose the lower leagues would argue, well, we need the cups because it's more money.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, even if it's just not for the TV revenue, it's for filling your stadium out for an extra game a season, right? You know, if you normally say you're Blackburn, you're getting 16,000, but you draw Liverpool, and then you're going to get 30,000 in there, hopefully. Yeah, there is some value in it, isn't there? But I think a restructuring, like Dorco said, there's not a bad shout. There should be less focus on the League Cup, definitely, for me.
And I do think that you should have, for me, maybe not League One, but definitely League Two, it should be North and South.
Yeah, I mean, it's going that way because of the finances anyway, isn't it, Chris, unfortunately, because the money's been sucked out of that league. I mean, we see trouble in League One with Plymouth and Exeter down there because of their travel. I mean, to travel and try and be competitive with the money it costs, and it's not, obviously, they don't get subsidised by the league for it, do they? And it puts them in a difficult spot where they can't really compete. So I'd agree with that. It's the game's fault as well. It shouldn't be happening, but it is the way the game is now.
They do it further down the leagues. I think for the conference or whatever it's called these days, and League Two, it could be done. But well done, Brighton. Man United, like I say, they are the club that just keep on giving. I didn't put this down, and I wish I had done as one of the games, because obviously I'm not saying you support Oxford, but you've got an affiliation with them. Yeah. And at one point, I thought they were going out, but they came back and they've gone through on penalties.
They have indeed, and even more remarkable, Chris, MK Dons had 11 first-team players out injured. 11. So if you think about it, that is even more of a remarkable result. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because form actually plays a lot into the FA Cup beyond actual quality, doesn't it? Because you look at that Oxford team they put out and go, well, the striker from Lancashire is on loan, but he's a Tottenham Academy graduate. He looks like he's a pretty handy player. But yeah, they took advantage of it, and I think it's your attitude now you turn up. And MK Dons would be quite disappointed they didn't probably finish it before it got to penalties. So, yeah, I mean, a lucky one for Oxford there.
Again, do Oxford see this as a distraction? They've got bigger fish to fry, haven't they?
A little bit, but they have still got the issue of they want to get this stadium built, because obviously they don't want to be living in the ashes of their ex-owner's stadium. They don't get on with Kassam at all. They don't like paying him money to rent the stadium. So any money they can get and trying to stay in the championship for them, all these things are equally important to help get to that main goal for me. So yeah, I think they'll be very happy to have got through, actually.
And what's your feelings about MK Dons? Because everybody says that they're the most hated team in the country. Look, if we were in America, nobody would have batted an eyelid on that.
No, it's very different.
Teams are taken from one place and put on the other side of the country and renamed. I mean, had that not, I know Wimbledon, AFC Wimbledon as now is, again, a Phoenix club they've raised from the ashes. But at that point, Wimbledon couldn't have survived in the Premier League, which is where they were. They were in the top division at one point.
They were, yeah. I mean, it was an attempt to try and see if you can make the English people a bit more Americanized almost. But we're not going to be able to move away from those principles. We've seen it with the Super League idea, haven't we? How much everyone got up in arms about that as well. Similar sort of thing, I've got nothing against MK Dons. I mean, the thing I would say is, like, they've gone out there really extravagant, built a massive stadium, which is a very, very nice stadium for modern stadiums, isn't it? But it's always empty, and I kind of think, has that held them back a little bit, trying to be too big too early? Because every time they get towards League One or the Championship, they seem not to have the backing.
I thought they had that the stadium was already there because obviously Milton Keynes is in what they call, well, not so much now, but it was a new town.
Yeah.
It was built from nowhere, and all it was well known for was, of course, was its concrete cows
And the roundabouts everywhere.
and roundabouts everywhere. Exactly. I was going to get to that in a roundabout way. Sorry, if I don't laugh, nobody else does. But yeah. And I think it was there because it's also it's used for other sporting events as well. And I think the idea was to have this stadium for this new town and what have you. But yeah, no, I don't have anything against them. Maybe it was just the fact that it was a long way from Wimbledon, wasn't it? But well done to Oxford. They got through 4-3 on penalties. Not a bad penalty game, that one, as we'll see sort of later on.
Quick update, Liverpool have just gone 3-1 up.
Have they? Oh, it's all over and done then, isn't it, really?
Yeah. 7 minutes to go.
Preston 0, Wigan 1.
Interesting. A bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, not seismic in the big scheme of things, as we know this weekend. But yeah, I was surprised. I mean, Wigan are in League
1.
2, is it?
League 1.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're down in 15th, which is kind of just below halfway. Not having the best of seasons. I mean, I can remember when Wigan, they were the team that always used to stay up right at the end of the season.
That's right, yeah, under Dave Whelan's chairmanship, wasn't it?
Yes. And fair play to Dave Whelan. He owned the sportswear shops, and he put his money, not unlike Jack Walker at Blackburn, into the club. They won the FA Cup. Yeah, fair play to them on that one as well. And but obviously they couldn't sort of keep it up. And Dave Whelan's obviously, I think he's still with us.
No, I think he's passed, mate. Unfortunately,
yeah. But Preston will be disappointed, won't they? Because then at the end of the day, I mean, they are 4th in the Championship. By now, they've usually sort of had their normal sort of collapse. Preston will be very disappointed to have lost this.
They will, yeah, and they could have won it, and they probably should have won it as well. I mean, Wigan took a good opportunity there. They played well. I mean, it's interesting because obviously Preston play quite a different formation to the normal 4-2-3-1, and Wigan played 4-2-3-1. So it really was a bit of a surprise because Preston have done quite well against that this season in the Championship in particular, haven't they? I'll tell you the funny thing about Preston: it's a bad result for them, but if there's a result this weekend, you go, it's a bad result, but it might work out in the loser's favour in the long term. This is probably the one because they are literally, because especially with Coventry wavering and you don't know with Middlesbrough at the moment, so I think it's funny. Sometimes things happen for a reason, even if they seem bad. So
Preston were all over Wigan. In fairness, 70% possession, more shots, although less on target, more aerial judgment, more touches in the opposition box, and they left it late, Wigan, 75 minutes. I suppose there's always a good time to score, whatever match. But in one of these matches, 75 minutes, it is at that point where you're thinking, yeah, shit, we might not get back into this.
Well, that's it, exactly. I mean, if you're going to talk about a game plan from a lower league opposition as well against a team that's doing quite well and flying high, then I'd say that they executed it perfectly, right? Barnsley have been trying it tonight against Liverpool, but Liverpool obviously got so much quality, they'll score from 30 yards. I think it was a bit of that. Poor old Whelan's still with us there, has been said. So we apologise if we have pronounced someone as not being here. I thought he'd passed away. We do apologise if that's the case.
Is he still with us? Somebody just said, have they?
Yeah.
Oh, is he? Bless him.
We apologise, Mr. Whelan. We're not trying to,
I did do, but of course we did do that famously on the prediction show with Barry Fry. But,
I swear the matrix we live in is broken sometimes, because sometimes you hear someone's passed away and you go, when did they pass away? Do you know what I mean?
I know. I don't know if he's still with the club or not, or what. If he sold it on or not, I don't know.
No, he sold it.
Nigel Clough's Mansfield will give Dan's Burnley a good game. We're coming on to those later, Dworski. I think. Moving on from Preston. Sorry. Oh, look! What a shame this next one was. I mean, this is again one of the games we're going to discuss, but I mean, I'm happy for Wrexham. Look, the two guys that own it have made a bit of money out of I mean, there were. I mean, not Rob McElhenney. Who's the other one?
Ryan Reynolds, Canadian.
Ryan Reynolds, who I absolutely love. I love Deadpool and all that.
Mm.
It's worth something like 300 million now.
Yeah, it's remarkable to think where they took it from, isn't it?
No, that's just him on his own.
Oh yeah, no. Well, that's because of Deadpool makes he's got rights for he gets a percentage of Deadpool. So you know.
Oh yes, no, he does. But also, they've sold a proportion of Wrexham, haven't they?
They have. They were looking at buying a hockey team as well, but they didn't do it. They're looking at buying Calgary.
Right, but you want them to buy the Leaves, don't you?
They can't afford the Leafs to make one of the richest sporting franchises around.
Are they? Yeah, I've never even heard of them.
We're owned by the press in Toronto, so literally, it's funny. We sabotage ourselves. We're owned by the press. by literally a company that organises the press around in North America. Bizarre, isn't it?
It is. But look, like I say, what can I say? Condolences to Nottingham Forest.
I know, right?
Sorry, I'm not. 3-3, 4-3 on penalties.
Yeah, remarkable game this, wasn't it? I'll tell you what, you think it was the first one of the weekend as well. Sometimes you go to a restaurant, you get an appetizer, and that can sometimes eclipse the main course. That game nearly did it because it was a cracking cup game, this, to be fair, wasn't it? I mean, Wrexham winning 4-3 on penalties. First time Wrexham have beat top flight opposition since 1999. So that's another one they could put in the TV programme there. And once again, a game of form versus status, isn't it? Wrexham going into it with 4 wins in a row, Chris, so on a good run, feeling a little bit confident. And a real good cup game because they were scrapping for the ball high up the pitch. It wasn't pretty for Wrexham, but they got through, and I think they targeted in particular the right back and centre back position where Forest did make a bit of rotation with Sunar coming in and I think it's Yarcunha is how you say it, or Yarcunha, centre back. And if you think they score from a corner as well, I do wonder if they shouldn't be dropping Milinkovic ever, Nottingham Forest, because he's a bouncer at centre back, isn't he? And as soon as he's gone, it opens them up a little bit more. So yeah, to think they only made a couple of changes, so had a good team out there, Forest. I mean, it does show they got a bit of a battle on in the Premier League still.
Yeah, they have. I mean, just looking at the Premier League, they're in 17th place, Forest, but they've got 21 points, so they're actually 7 points above West Ham. 8 points above Burnley, and 14 points above Wolves. And I'm just looking at that, I'm thinking, are we seeing, and I know we talk about the FA Cup, but are we seeing potentially the same as last season when obviously the three of us were that awful and we were cut adrift quite early on? Or, I can't necessarily see Burnley doing it, but can West Ham maybe turn it out? We will have to wait and see. If you can see the comments, by the way, on your screen, because I've got this full screen, so I can't see the comments. So
yeah, I can see the comments. I'll keep bringing them up.
If you want to read any out at all, yeah, please do. Please do.
We'll do this in a minute.
Was Danny Ward in goal? No, I don't think he was, actually.
No, it was a Concro who's actually very good at shot stopping and very nimble, unlike Danny Ward.
Wrexham in 9th, and they'd won they'd won 4 of the last 5 in the league. So fair play to Wrexham, fair play. And to be honest with you, I wish them all the best. I mean, I'm not one of these that thinks, well, my God, it's they bought it and all this, because kind of we did, didn't we? I know we didn't sort of, spend the money that the Man City had got, but compared to the Wigans and the Oldhams and the Rochdales, we bought the league, you know what I mean? So, yeah, we've got rich owners as well. So fair play to Wrexham. Good luck and well done, doubly well done on beating Notts Forest.
Yeah, exactly.
I love calling them Notts Forest because they hate it.
Yeah, they do. They do hate it. That's right. Keep doing it, Chris. I mean, Notts Forest and Coventry losing. It's not a bad result for Leicester right now, bearing in mind how we're doing. And Derby as well lost.
Yes, indeed. Well, I think we're the only East Midlands club left in it, aren't we?
Hey, champions of the East Midlands. You've never seen that.
Love it. Port Vale 1, Fleetwood 0. I don't know too much about that game.
No, new manager came in, I think, for Port Vale. Was he? I'm not even sure if he was in charge for the game, Chris. Obviously, they've sacked Aaron Moore, haven't they? Struggling at the bottom of League One against a League Two team that's kind of middling now in Fleetwood. So it could have gone either way. This Fleetwood actually had a pretty good shout at this from what I saw in the match stats as well. Sorry. So, but Port Vale could probably do with a little bit of money, can't they? So,
Yeah. Fair play to them. Okay, now though, this is absolutely off the scale. They are calling it the biggest upset ever in the FA Cup. Now, I don't know about that because there has been a few upsets over the years. We all remember Wycombe Wanderers, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
And we all, there was Hereford beating Newcastle,
Yep.
Sutton beating Coventry. But I think they are saying that this is the biggest gap between two teams, certainly in this year's competition, because they are the lowest one that's left. Macclesfield as well, again, are this Phoenix club that have come out of the ashes. Palace, and I think this is where it gets into the big status, because you look at that with Macclesfield, and they're up against a Palace side who, let's be honest with you, are FA Cup holders and also Community Shield holders.
That's right, yeah.
What a result! And I was just looking then on the VC website. Apparently, in the celebrations afterwards, the Macclesfield guys were behind the bar pulling their own pints.
Yeah, they were on the pitch as well, weren't they? I mean, they put the whole post up about not going on the pitch and it still happened. But what are you going to expect to happen? I mean, if there was a performance of the week, Chris, we've got the trophy. We normally do this for the Championship Review Show, everyone, if you come along and watch that. It would be Macclesfield, wouldn't it? Hands down, there'd be no debate.
I wouldn't argue with you on this week. We're not doing it, unfortunately. But if we did, you're 100% right. Macclesfield would get it.
Yeah, 117 places the difference, I mean, half of the first. I mean, the press has gone on about how Macclesfield, they're all like teachers and, butchers and, bin men and all the rest of it. That's not necessarily true. I mean, half of them actually are still professional footballers under contracts, with certain clubs on loan, all the rest of it. They've got a couple of good players in there as well. So, I mean, I'm not trying to underestimate what they've done, but, the narrative is slightly off centre there because they have got people like Borthwick Jackson, who was an ex-Man United youngster, played in the Premier League for Man United, Chris. But well done to them outside of all that. Obviously,
when they played in the Premier League, I mean, no. Playing for a team that's in the Premier League.
Oh, he played in the Premier League for them now and again, Chris. He did. Yeah, number 4. Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, have a look on it. I'm pretty sure he made some Premier League appearances. But anyway, I'm picking on a small argument here, and I'm not trying to underestimate what Macclesfield would have done because I just think it's funny how they've gone for this angle. They like to extend things, right? I mean, the main story of it is obviously the sad passing of Ethan McLeod, isn't it? Heading into this, and they had obviously the picture of him in the stalls, and his space free, and it's amazing what that energy can do to you and unite you as well. And we said it about Cunvey Shire. You're wearing the shirt today, right? Was he looking down on us the day we won the FA Cup? And you kind of think sometimes this world is bizarre and there's something more going on than, not to get religious or anything like that, but there is something a little bit special in the air on days like this. And I'm delighted for Macclesfield, but Crystal Palace walked themselves into it with their team selection. They really did.
Well, I'm just looking. I mean, when you've got a Spanish waiter in goal for you, you're asking for trouble. That's Benitez, if anybody's wondering who. But look, they had Gayu playing. I'm not a huge fan of Palace, so I don't know. I mean, how many changes or whatever there were.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is that obviously Crystal Palace have got this elephant in the room, which is Mark Gahey, right? It's like our year with the Tillerman situation, isn't it? And it's like, I wonder if, especially when there's had all this rumour about their manager as well, is he going to potentially get another job somewhere else? It does make you wonder, have they become unsettled? Because they've been on this awful run of form in the Premier League as well, haven't they? What are they now? 9 games without winning the Premier League? It all seems to have fallen apart at the same time for them a little bit, and this is probably the worst game they could have got, and ironically the best one Macclesfield could have got, and all the stars aligned for it. So Crystal Palace have got a lot of thinking to do after this for me, irrelevant of how strong the team was, because there seems to be something brewing in the background here.
I think you could be right. I mean, Palace are sat in 13th, won 7, drawn 7, lost 7, scored 22, conceded 23. I mean, it's like almost a sort of a, nothing team, if you like, But this should have been the season when you know, Palace could be challenging for, they're in Europe, aren't they? And I know they've had this problem. Was it Palace Palace got moved up because Forest got dropped down or something, didn't they?
How does that work when Chelsea owned them in Strasbourg pretty much and there was no problems with that? I do not understand how this works, Chris.
Because they're big clubs and Palace and Forest are little clubs. And I know we joke about Forest.
Because they hide it with the big clubs and put it behind other paywalls and other names and all this. Yeah. I think it's so wrong. They shouldn't allow multi-club ownership. We're seeing a massive uprising in Europe about this in particular right now.
Yeah, and I agree that
I know we're at the own Louvre,
As
but
much as I joke about Forest and I was laughing at them being knocked out, I don't think what happened to them in Europe was deserved. I've got to say.
no, definitely not.
But Palace. I think this should have been the year when they really kicked on, and they haven't done. Like you say, I think the manager. And remember, let's famously say last season Palace were the ones that stuck with the manager, and he did all right for them. But when we got relegated, because everybody down there was changing the manager, fair play. And again, when I look at this, if we look at the stats here, Crystal Palace just over 71% of the possession, but Macclesfield had 13 shots to their 12.
Yeah,
Touches in the box, Max 15, Palace 21. It was pretty even. But it was interesting what you said earlier that it was on the news at lunchtime, and they'd gone to the one of the Macclesfield players who was the teacher.
that's right.
Like you say, not to the loan base. But look, let's say absolutely brilliant to Macclesfield. Like you say, let's give it to them anyway. Let's give them officially. It's my channel. I can make these decisions. We're going to have a performance of the week, and it goes to Macclesfield this week.
There we go. We'll see what happens in the next round. I mean, the interesting thing is, from their perspective, I bet they would have liked to. They wanted to get a big club, and they were saying that if they got someone like a Port Vale with their team they got, I think they could have competed against a Port Vale if they were on their day because of the players they've got. I do, controversially.
Possibly, yes, possibly. But again, I guess they were hoping for an away game.
Well, of course, with the money, yeah, definitely, yes. Yeah. Although good to create new memories at a place. Obviously, had some bad ones recently as well, but the money side of it, yeah, very important. Of course, they're in the north, the Vanarama North, aren't they? So they're trying to get up into the conference again. But I imagine with this little boost in the money, we'll see them in League Two in a few years again.
Well, it'd be nice to see, wouldn't it? It'd be nice to see.
Yeah.
Everton, again, an all Premier League game here. Everton won, Sunderland won. Everton, maybe they need to take penalty practice.
Maybe. I mean, there's a little bit of negative noise towards Moyes now as well, isn't there, oddly? I mean, I saw these rumours going around all week. Someone started a rumour they were moving back to Goodison Park because, the new stadium element of it as well and all this.
Lucky and everything, yeah.
Exactly, so it's a funny one, isn't it? I mean, Sunderland are going to do what Sunderland do, which is they're going to turn up, they're going to counter-attack you with a deep block, and then if you're not able to break that down, and the lower down team you are in the Premier League, the harder quality your chance you've got of doing it, the harder your game's going to be. And Everton's strikers have dried up a bit, haven't they, as well? So, yeah, I mean, they're going to have to do some business in this window. But, I mean, I look at it like, really for Everton, they weren't really going to win it. Sunderland, because of how they play, you never know, because they are catching out big teams on occasion, though, aren't they, Chris?
Yes, yeah. I mean, Sunderland are up in 10th, Everton are in 12th. Probably looking to do better this season because, Moyes again went in and walked on water, a bit like Chris Wilder. But like Chris Wilder, shine's gone off it a little bit, like you say, and the fans are, be careful what you wish for because, if he goes, look at the managers you've had recently. Wow. Wolves. Now, again, remind me who the manager at Wolves is. This is one of the games we mentioned.
Is Rob Edwards, but you might call him Rob Evans because we get confused between Edwards and Evans on this channel now and again.
Thank you for that.
My pleasure.
I deserve that after everything I give you about missing goals. But 6-1, is it slowly? I mean, he won in the league either last week or the week before. Is it? And they've not. Well, in the last 5, they've only lost 2 of them. They've won 1, drawn 2. Are we seeing? And I think it's possibly a bit late for them to try. I mean, 14 points behind Nottingham Forest, but are we perhaps seeing the light at the end of the tunnel? Shall we say?
Well, they're now 4 games unbeaten, Wolves, which has gone under the radar a little bit, hasn't it? I mean, okay, they need to get wins now in the Premier League rather than draws, don't they? But, I mean, the interesting thing is they went out in this game, they went strong, obviously. Strand Larsen's taken a bit of heat off the supporters this year because he had his head turned by Newcastle as they saw it, and they didn't think he was applying the maximum effort, which is probably blatantly untrue. He's just probably been quite out of form, right? And then he goes and gets a hat trick in this one. Controversial, Chris, right? Let me say this now to look an idiot at the end of the season, right? There's been great escapes before. I'm not writing Wolves off. I know it's a 10% chance, but if they can win the next Premier League game, it's like when we did it in the Great Escape. They've got players now like Rodrigo Gomez, who's come back from a big injury, who's starting to look like he's really got up for the battle almost, and he wants to put a marker down because he's been out for so long. It can take time sometimes with new managers, can't it? And Rob Edwards being passionate about Wolves himself, having had a very good career there, I wonder if we shouldn't just write them off yet. And like I say, clipless, at the end of the season, I'll either look an idiot or genius, but I don't, I think it's possible.
Like I say, because, it is that light at the end of the tunnel thing. A new manager coming in doesn't look, he came into what was an absolute bloody mess at Wolves. Yeah. He's not going to do it straight away. Sometimes it happens. Chris Wilder at, Sheffield United, but now it's dragged off, it's fallen off a bit. This guy's come into, and I've forgotten his name already, Edwards, has come into Wolves, and he's taking his time to be able to sort things out. I mean, Martin O'Neill did at Leicester.
That's it, exactly. And I think it's important they play the first team. I think it's important they play the first team in this to keep that momentum going. Yeah, it's Shrewsbury, and Shrewsbury are in a difficult run of form, mate. I mean, they got relegated from League One last year. They're only 2 points above the drop zone in League Two. They're really struggling, right, under Michael Appleton. But I think they did the right thing going strong for this, because the fixture list has been kind enough to give them enough days off to be able to play a strong team. He hasn't fallen into that trap, and he's trying to use it for momentum. And ironically, I know it's a League Two team. The confidence going out there and scoring 6 goals might get you 2 goals next week against someone else, especially for Strand Larson, who's been struggling.
Oh, look, Shrewsbury are 22nd in the League Two. Good. I don't know if it's the bottom 3 that go down or the top 2, but they're only a point off Harrogate and 2 points off Newport. I can see totally what you're saying. Let's be honest with you. If you looked at this game, or you looked at Macclesfield Crystal Palace, you said this was probably the one that might have the upset because how bad Wolves were. Like I say, potential banana skin. None of it. Oh, look, Dawarski said here, I don't think we're going on to Leicester now. I don't think we bought the league that season. I'm not saying that we did.
No, I don't think we did.
No, I mean, what I'm saying is that Rochdale could look at us and go, well, you've got a rich owner. Shrewsbury could look at us and go, you've got a rich owner. Macclesfield could look at us and go, you've got... That's what I'm saying. Compared to those teams, we could have bought... No, we didn't buy it at all. It was
probably a bit of an odd comparison, Chris. That's probably what's throwing us off a little bit.
It is, but you've got to look... It's all about perspective, isn't it? And what I'm saying is, and I was trying to think, I can't remember what club I was talking about, was that I can't even remember what it was about now, but that was my point anyway. My point was not saying that we actually bought it, but we could have perceived to say that we'd got rich owners, which we did.
We're the Macclesfield of Premier League winners because we pulled together a load of ragtag players that nobody else
wanted. That's what we're talking about, Wrexham, with their owners and what have you. Anyway, moving on, and we have discussed this. If you didn't see it, catch it earlier. If you want to fast forward through Brad's bits, you'll probably cut the show down in half. Cheltenham 0, Leicester City 2. He knows I'm joking. Look. We disagreed at the end of the match on the performance. I went 7, you went 5. All I would say is that this could have been a potential banana skin, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. No, this is true. Hey, look, I still think my 5 is very valid because I think ultimately, when you think of standards and a standard performance, I mean, look at Wolves. Wolves is that standard performances. They're getting a little bit better. They still go and put 6 past Shrewsbury, right? And that's my point. It's all about scale versus who you are playing. And I felt for the performance, I think the first half performance we handled well because it was a tight pitch, a tight game of football. We took our 2 opportunities to get through and we scored them. I think second half we didn't push on. And the reason I did didn't score it highly, Chris, is because it's not the first time this season we've seen it. In fact, it's probably the 15th time this season we have seen that. And that's what gets me about it. So I can't over-reward the players because we've got to think about the standards we want of the football club.
I would have said, just looking at that one game, the fact that there was so many changes, 8 changes, and yes, a lot of those players were used to playing with each other. I mean, I gave them 7. Funnily enough, tonight, Brad gave them 7, and Steve gave them 6. So I prefer Brad and Steve to you. And
the players are glad I'm not their manager.
Yeah, I know. And also, of course, I went for Mavrididi as my man of the match, as did indeed FootMob. So, but I have to say that Steve agreed with you and went Skip. So, what does he know? Doncaster 2, Southampton 3. Again, Southampton making hard work of it.
They are, yeah. I mean, they had that little bit of a purple patch in the league, didn't they? Especially when we happened to play them, which was really helpful. And of course, they will be our opponents, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, Doncaster gave a good account of themselves in this game because they've not really been doing, amazingly well so far, have they? For their expectations. So I think Doncaster will take that as quite a bit of confidence going into their league form because, Southampton, they're generally. I mean, look at the Millwall game. I mean, they lost to Millwall 2-1, but they're always. I lost my train of thought what I was going to say there. Basically, Southampton have kind of tightened up a little bit, and I think at times. And I think what Doncaster have gone and done there is actually pretty good showing, really, all in all. But I think, Southampton, do they need a distraction? Kind of like us, we're kind of both in the wavering position, aren't we?
No, agreed. Right, the next game that is one that we've got to talk about, and I have to ask the question, are the wheels coming off the Coventry wagon?
Well, there's 2 ways you can view it. I mean, this game, they had a lot of possession. I mean, like Coventry's, the reason they were doing so well for me was because they not only had possession, they were lethal with it, weren't they? That they've dried up a little bit for some reason over the past few weeks. They were better in the second half. There was a little bit more motivation, but yeah, they just held on to the ball too much for me in the first half, and that allowed Stoke to have the more clear-cut opportunities, even though it took an 88th minute goal from Cisse to actually finish it off. But yeah, that's where it's gone wrong for Coventry. I mean, can you put that down, Chris, to just the fact they've got a little bit stale, perhaps, or is it just a little bit of bad luck? And maybe one day next week they'll probably. I hate to say that about Coventry, as you know, but maybe in a minute they'll get back and just score 3 or 4 goals next week. Not against us, hopefully. Sugar. I just realised they're playing next the week after.
You heard it here first, guys. Oh. Mister, I'm a big Leicester fan.
After this week.
I get what you mean, and I think the problem is, if it is bad luck, once you start to get bad luck, it just continues, doesn't it?
They did hit the post a couple of times in this as well. But here's the thing with Lampard. Lampard's had this before, hasn't he? Where he's kind of stagnated at a certain point. I wonder if he overthinks it now, could he make it worse?
It is interesting, yeah. We've seen him do well, and then, like you say, it drops off after a while. Coventry are going through what we went through with Enzo,
exactly.
A grey patch. But yeah, I just think when you start to have bad luck, it generally sticks with you for a while. And maybe, and hopefully it won't be this weekend, but they maybe need, like you say, a good win just to get themselves back on track.
The thing that worries me is that we're Leicester with a gift that keeps on giving sometimes.
We are indeed. Stoke 1 and Coventry, that's what we just talked about, isn't it? Sheffield Wednesday 0, Brentford 2. I mean, this was pretty much on the cards, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Pedersen said the best thing about this game is the fact he went and had a beer with Keith Andrews afterwards. He said he's been drinking a lot of beer this season with other managers, after games because, it's a very difficult one for Sheffield Wednesday, isn't it? I mean, it's a shame for Sheffield Wednesday because you think, of all the teams in this outside of the non-league ones and all the rest of it, it'd be nice for them to have got a win. But it's a difficult draw because Brentford don't strike me as that team that have dropped in their professionalism since they've changed their manager. In fact, actually, their professionalism has remained the same. Which is a credit to Keith Andrews for carrying on the good work that Thomas Frank had done there for years, and also very good credit to their ownership for going for someone in-house because you don't see that very often work. It's normally a short-term solution, isn't it? Like it was with Russ and Shaky.
Yeah, I mean, Brentford they're up in 5th, in fairness. They haven't lost in 5, so fair play to them.
A lot of people had them to go down this year as well. I was considering it.
No, I think they'd be okay. Well, I think definitely be okay now.
Losing
But
in Bremo as well.
yeah, Newcastle, Bournemouth. Wow. This was a bit of a humdinger, even when it got to penalties. At one point, I thought Bournemouth had it in the bag.
Yeah, exactly. The Eddie Howe derby, this isn't it? If you think, because Bournemouth certainly wouldn't be up here without Eddie Howe, would they? So, yeah, a remarkable. I mean, Newcastle, they found a way to score recently, haven't they? Harvey Barnes has been superb recently, hasn't he, Chris?
Yeah.
There's been talk about him being called up for Scotland, and maybe his Scottish grandparent will get him in the team. The England team needs to be looking at him, as far as I'm concerned, for what he's been doing, because he's been that good. I think he's got 4 goals in 2 games now or something. Yeah, I mean, incredible. I mean, the Newcastle fans are saying he's better than Anthony Gordon, who was meant to be more of a talisman for them as well. If Newcastle could shore up their defence, I think they'd be a lot higher up the table. They are getting there, aren't they? But there is a bit of a cluster in the middle of the Premier League, so it might go quite late into the season to see if they can retain their ambition of European football, which is important for them growing like the Saudi ownership would like.
I mean, they are up there in 6th. Bournemouth, who had a really good season last season, only just missed out on Europe. They've just lost Semenyo to Manchester City, but they're going to have a lot of money to spend now. 26 points for Bournemouth. They're down in 15th. They could be drawn into the relegation zone. The manager is a good manager, and I think he could probably be not maybe in the Man United job, but he could, be lured away, if you like.
Wouldn't surprise me if Spurs went sniffing. They love a manager like this, don't they?
Well, yeah,
they've done it before. They looked at him before.
Yeah, we'll come on to Spurs because, not a good weekend for them. But they managed to edge it on penalties, Newcastle. Interesting. We'll talk about Newcastle a little bit later on something that you came up with. Fulham beating Middlesbrough. I guess that was kind of expected. Ipswich struggling against the Blackpool, but went through 2-1. A couple of games here. I mean, how ridiculous. Manchester City 10.
Yeah.
Exeter 1. And I think he went with a full-strength team, or mind you, having said that, his full-strength team is probably, a second-rate team is better than a lot of our full-strength teams, isn't it?
Well, it was a mixture, wasn't it, Chris? I mean, they had players coming back. The interesting thing is Semenyo went straight into the team, never even have a training session with his teammates. And same goes for the centre-back, Elene. He was at Watford and got recalled and got chucked into the team as well. So it's interesting how you talk about pep ball sometimes, and I agree with you. There's a lot of teams that play pep ball. It's quite helpful for Man City. You're sending players out on loan, and they kind of know the system they're coming back to play already, isn't it? But Rodri came back into this one as well. And when you have a player like Rodri, I mean, I don't think he deserved to win the Ballon d'Or, but he is a very, very good midfielder, isn't he? And he can just dictate that game for them. I mean, what's interesting about Man City is we talk about how they've spent money over the years. Their academy prospects now are starting to come good. There was 4 involved in this game who had played really well. I mean, you look at Rico Lewis there, also O'Reilly coming off the bench. They started with McAdoo as well. I think, we underestimate that part of them.
Wasn't that a single for Black Lace?
It might have been, Chris. It's a bit ahead of my time, my friend.
Do, push pineapple, shake the tree. Macca, do. No. All right, I'll move on.
You accuse me of not being cool coming up with stuff like the Macarena on this show. And then there's you there, literally. I'm rubbing off on you, not literally, guys.
I'm sorry. No. We did that in the first show. We went down that road in that show. Let's please not do. I nearly interviewed Black Lace, but unfortunately, the 2 members of Black Lace, neither of them were the originals. Interestingly, Haaland didn't score, did he?
No, I mean, that's the one little nugget here for Exeter City. Plus, obviously, they scored a very good goal from Birch, who was coming in from the academy, who scored probably the goal of the game, actually, in the 90th minute, which is brilliant. I mean, the sad thing is from Exeter as well. They nearly scored on 5 minutes and took a 1-0 lead. Not that it would probably change the outcome, but it would have made it a bit more of a game, wouldn't it? But no, I mean, they kept Haaland quiet. But the problem is, if you're focusing on Haaland, there's 9 other players outside of him who are just going to completely ruin you.
Yeah. I mean... I see Rudolph was playing for Manchester City.
Rudolph? Who's Rudolph?
Reindeers.
Who?
Reindeers? Is that how you pronounce it?
Oh, Reinders, the midfielder. Yeah,
Sorry. Come on. That's not a bad one.
He set me right up there. I walked into that. I'd be a terrible mouse, wouldn't I? I'd have my head cut off by a block of cheese and a mouse trap.
You would. But I felt sorry for Exeter. Are
Me
they
too.
League Two, Exeter?
They're League One, mate. They're really. I mean, this is the thing. Obviously, I've got a lot of friends who support Exeter. You know, I know. Well, they nearly didn't make the game because one of my mates was posting on Facebook that the bus was held up in traffic. So it was, it was nearly a day where they even missed it. But yeah, I mean, they've obviously just taken a lot of abuse from Plymouth fans since it happened. I mean, they've been quite quiet and quite peaceful about it. But I think there will be a little bit of disappointment. But they are really, for the money they've got barely got a League Two budget. They are doing remarkable to be in League One.
14th, and ahead of Plymouth on goal difference. So, in fact, there's a Wigan Athletic sandwich between Exeter and Plymouth. Is it a bit of a derby game, that one?
Oh, I tell you what, like if you don't know the Devon Derby, I mean, people think, oh, it mustn't be that bad. It is bad. The Devon Derby, I won't go to Exeter while it's going on because there will be violence. It can be quite heated. Yeah, it's very heated. There's a lot of bad blood between the two.
Yeah. Burnley struggling in the Premier League, but doing reasonably well against Millwall. Again, are we seeing that this is the level for Parker in his management career? Because he does well in the Championship, but not so well in the Premier League.
Well, even more worrying than that, does it show you the fact that if you do get promoted and you've got a manager, I think, didn't they only concede 20 goals last year, Burnley or something? They were ridiculous. The clean sheets they had, they were ridiculously good, right? It just shows you the gap we've now got between the Premier League and the Championship, because I don't think they would get rid of him, actually. I think they stick with him, but then can he build a team?
16 goals was all they conceded.
16, yeah.
Remarkable. Lost 2 games all season.
Remarkable. And you think that record and how it's translated to the Premier League. I mean, but the interesting thing is Sunderland throw a spanner in the works because they've tried something completely different. They're up in 10th, aren't they? But it does, for me, show the disparity between the two leagues, because I'd argue Scott Parker's only chance of getting this team in the Premier League is going to be building it up from relegation to promotion, maybe a couple of times for where they are. And but it was a bit of a surprise. I thought this would be a closer game, actually, than what it was. And the same with for the Middlesbrough, actually, because of that top of the Championship versus sort of towards the bottom of the Premier League. It was quite a surprise, the difference there.
Yeah, indeed there was. But yeah, 5-1. I thought Millwall will probably come away from that being disappointed.
Oh, very much so.
A tale of 2 lower league clubs here. Boreham Wood 0, Burton Albion 5. I guess you're expecting Burton Albion to win that out the 2. They're quite one of the lower sides in it, but Boreham Wood. Cambridge 2, Birmingham City 0. They were struggling.
Yeah. You said 0. Sorry,
2-3. Sorry. 2-3. It's been a long night. Cambridge 2, Birmingham City 3. Birmingham City doing well they're doing well. They're 14th. They're not doing so well in the Championship. I think the fans would have wanted them to be doing better.
Kyogo finally scored for them, though, because they were talking about selling Kyogo back to Celtic, and he's now finally scored. Will that make a slight difference? They need him scoring. They put a lot of money into him, about 10 million quid.
But sometimes I know Burton went on to get 5. I don't know who they've got in the next round, but that doesn't always mean you're going to do well in the next round. Sometimes you scrape through, and there's a little bit of luck goes with you. I think it was the first year we won the League Cup, and I've still got the T-shirt somewhere, and on the back it had all the games that we played up to get into the final of the League Cup, and we got like 3 of the 6 or 7 games with penalty wins. You know what I mean? So it can be a lot. Talking about luck, Tottenham just can't get a slice of it at the moment, can they?
Well, I don't think it's even luck, Chris. It was 45 minutes they didn't turn up in, wasn't it? I mean, they're in a position where I think they are underachieving massively versus the players they got. I mean, even for their system, I think they should be a lot more competitive against an Aston Villa team than what they're being. But it's because they didn't turn up for 45 minutes, and it's entirely on them. I mean, if I was the manager, I'd be absolutely apoplectic about it because, I just think they're making their own misfortune, Tottenham. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how bad it will get for them, but there seems to be a little bit of something going on there, doesn't there? But Aston Villa, mate, they haven't got the biggest squad either, Villa, have they? And they've got like players like Bogarde played in central midfield here. I've always liked him. He's a young academy player of theirs. But they're maxing out everything they've got, Aston Villa. And credit to them and credit to Emery. He's probably the manager of the year again.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal, who knows what you could have won if you'd stuck with him. But you wanted him gone. And you're top at the moment, but we know that's not going to last. I I've got to say, Tottenham are sat in 14th, 27 points. Not an awful lot better than last season, and they're not going to look like they're going to win a European Cup. I can't see them winning the Champions League. I'd love to see them win the Champions League, finish one place off the relegation zone, and a Champions League winners. Was Frank the wrong choice?
I think they've got a problem where they like to go for a manager who plays the same system all the time. Is he really that much different from what they had with Ange?
I know another club that likes to do that.
I know. What is this thing about owners wanting to play 4-2-3-1 or in a certain way? But then I kind of go, Tottenham are like the sixth best team on their day of the big six, right? Surely their way to get to number one is to do something different. Is not to try and play like Arsenal, not to try and play like Liverpool. Do you see what I mean? I kind of think they've missed a trick for many years now in how they approach the game. I think if they went for, say, a 3-5-2 or something, which I love 3-5-2, there's something a bit different against these teams. They might find an edge because they have got good players there. I think Simons, in particular, the attacking midfielder they signed, he's a great talent. I think he's a hell of a footballer. But they don't seem to be able to bring the best out of these players as well at times. It's a bizarre one to me, Chris, and it does make you think, is there any point in them changing from Thomas Frank? Because they'll probably go out and appoint someone exactly the same.
Interesting, and they can't blame, what's his name anymore, who used to be the Sporting.
Levy. Yeah, Levy.
Yeah, because he's gone as well. Grimsby 3, Western Supermare, are they quite local to you?
Yeah, pretty local, about an hour 15 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, Grimsby going through there. I didn't even know Western Supermare. I'd forgotten they'd got a football team.
Yeah, they're in the National South, aren't they? They're in the second tier of non-league.
Yeah. I mean, I do remember years ago, I've forgotten, Bristol City 5, Watford 1. Wow. Again, look, an all championship game there. But Bristol City have been struggling in the league. They're down to 10th. At one point, they were third, I believe it was, against a Watford side that was sixth in the championship. I mean, I don't know, and I've not asked you to look at this one, but I'm wondering if a lot of changes for Watford and their thoughts are more on promotion than this.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, Watford are like a 4-4-2 under Javi Gracia as well, and lining up against Bristol City. But you're right, it's like two boats passing, but the result was the opposite direction of what you expected, because Bristol have been declining, Watford have been ascending, right? So it's interesting how it turned out this way, and Bristol are a bit of an enigma for this, aren't they? Because they now and again, they pull a 5-goal game out of the bag from nowhere. And they've done it a couple of times. They did against Portsmouth, didn't they, at home as well? The other week, they scored 5 past them. It's remarkable, really. I don't really know quite what to make of them. I had them in the playoffs, Bristol City, this year, because I thought it was probably due their time now. But this will be a bad result for Watford in the grand scheme of things, because even if they did rotate, Chris, I mean, the problem is they lost their centre-back, Aladdin, who's on loan, or Alien, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, back to Man City, and he goes straight into the team versus Exeter, right? He played very well for them, and they've got to replace that hole now, and they've not had a lot of money to do these things either.
No. Just Dworski remembers Top of the Pops compilation albums. I'm going to say Dworski. This was one of my many YouTube rabbit holes that I fell into last night. I somehow got onto groups or stars that had won Opportunity Knocks to become famous. And that year that was Britain's Got Talent before Britain's Got Talent. And one of those was a group of 5 Liverpool lads called Our Kid. And they had a number 2 hit. But they were literally 11, 12 years old, something like that. And when I went to play the version off the Top of the Pops album, they were sounding just like they were 11, 12-year-old kids. So the only thing I do remember about those albums were, and if you got a nice collection, but they always had a woman in a bikini.
Oh,
obviously.
wow.
Yes. You wouldn't get away with it these days, but even the Christmas one, she had like a red bikini with white cotton, white.
It shows what they thought of the music, where the first sale point is, let's put a woman on it in a bikini just to make sure we definitely get men to buy it.
Exactly. And finally there, Chelsea, I mean, look, I've got a soft spot for Charlton, but again, that would have been expected, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Charlton obviously did pretty well to get the goal here as well. I mean, I had a funny feeling Charlton would score, but once again, it's can they have the legs? I mean, they've struggled defensively for a while now, especially with the injuries they've had at fullback positions. So yeah, not unexpected. I mean, I'll say this now on record, one of the ones you can clip and bring back at a later date. A lot of people were saying Leroy Rosinia is going to have a tough time with it there. I like him. I think he's actually going to do very well there. He's got something about him. I think he's actually probably what Chelsea players need, especially when he's had Andre Santos, the midfielder at Strasbourg, puts him in as a reliable player in this game, and he was really good in this game in particular, Chris.
Obviously a lot of Leicester fans wanted him as well.
It's amazing, isn't it? I think last year, what was he doing? He was manager of Hull City, wasn't he? And he got the boot.
Yeah.
For coming 7th, which I said was daft.
But again, you're talking about these multi-ownership, things. And I don't blame Chelsea for doing that. They've looked at what he's done there. I think Strasbourg fans would be a little bit peed off, wouldn't they?
They are. They don't like it at all because they're technically being viewed as a feeder club. The thing that annoys me about it as well, Chris, is what Chelsea can do with this is they can literally set a price they can give Strasbourg, and it could be a way to inflate Strasbourg, couldn't it, as well?
Yeah,
you could say, "Why give him 20 million quid for him, even though his contract doesn't say." I mean, they sold their women's team for 225 quid. What TV deal makes a women's football team worth 225 million quid?
It's a joke. We all know. All know it is a joke. Right. Well, that's the results. We're going to go at the preview said now. We'll do that straight after this.
Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Thanks to the guys there. And can I just say, Tuesday's tomorrow. Friday, Tuesday tomorrow, we got the Foxes Forum. I didn't know what. I thought I could come up with a different name, but I just thought let's go with Foxes Forum too, because it is. We've got the one serious debate show, which is the Foxes Forum. This is going to be another one on, and I know a lot of the shows we do here are light-hearted, and that's what we like. But at 9:00, we are on Fridays. We've got the Foxes Forum 2, when I will be joined by Clibbo and Reese, who are back with us. So welcome back to them. They do know the football, they do know the Leicester. So tune in for that Friday at 9:00. Don't be there or be non-spherical or whatever they say. Right, are we ready to have a look at the draw?
We are indeed, mate. Let's do this. Let's see what we've got coming up in the next round.
Let's get the draws out. There we go. I presume it's Liverpool. Now, when I did this, I copied it earlier, and I'm guessing Liverpool have now beaten Barnsley.
Yeah, we should mention that as the last result of the day. It ended at Liverpool 4, Barnsley 1. I mean, Barnsley hit the post after 20 seconds, which is a remarkable start, bursting down the flank, getting the crossing and hitting the post. Silly backheel from Szoboszlai, but he did score a 30-yard, utterly world-class goal to make up for it before then. So, but yeah, Liverpool, I mean, Barnsley gave a good effort. They were trying to shut them down, but Liverpool's quality, 4-1.
4-1 at the end, wasn't it? Yeah. So, and you tend to get this, and this is why I'm thinking fair play to Macclesfield, and one of the reasons I said let's give them the performance of the weekend, because a lot of the time when you look at that against Barnsley, you're thinking, well, it's the fitness of the Liverpool players, and the regimes that they're under and they can afford to be under, and the food and what have you. But Macclesfield proved that no, if you stick at it, they don't always get worn down, the teams. Look, Stoke against Fulham. Stoke City at home. They've got a Premier League team away. Do you see that going the away leg to the away team again?
I'd imagine so. I mean, I think Stoke have done very well so far, especially in recent weeks in the league, actually, because they've had these injury problems as well. Only 13 first-team players fit approximately, Chris. They've got to do some business. They're making a move for the Southampton goalkeeper, Basnu, apparently, on loan, which is an interesting one. Because I thought Johansson was very good for them. He was one of our ex-academy players, but that's an interesting left-field one. I imagine Fulham are going to win this, because ultimately Fulham did actually dispatch Middlesbrough, and you'd argue that's a tougher fixture for them.
Yeah. I'm sorry about this, but Oxford United They're hosting, which they probably would have preferred to be away at Sunderland because you get more fans in the ground and get more money. Exactly. I have to say, look, you're making me sort of get a little bit of a soft spot for Oxford as well here.
Hey, Matt Elliott played for Oxford.
We got him from Oxford, indeed. 2.1 was it or something like that? But again, you're going to have to say Sunderland are probably going to go through, aren't they?
Well, you would think so, but the world works in funny ways, and I've got to go a little bit by my heart here. And Sunderland play, obviously, a very different style of football to Oxford. So I don't know, Chris. I mean, I'll put this as one potential surprise. Maybe it'll be a draw and it'll go to extra. But I'm going to give Oxford a little bit of credit here because they'll have the new manager in. They got the new manager in place, Who knows? I don't. The thing is, Sunderland could be an outside winner if they manage to run it all the way through because they can compete with top teams. But you just don't know on the day. So I'm going to lean slightly towards Sunderland are the favourites, but who knows?
Do you think that Oxford and teams in that sort of position that Oxford find themselves in, probably not as much Stoke, but certainly Oxford who are struggling in the league, thinking, "What have we got to lose? Let's just go for it." They're almost thinking it's a free, not a free ride, but you know what I mean.
Free hit. It's a free punch, isn't it? Yeah. And also, you got to look at it this way from them. What confidence can that bring to their league form if you can beat Sunderland? All of a sudden, if you're looking at teams around you in the Championship, you then go, well, maybe we can beat this team, actually. We've done them a lot.
Yeah. Right, the big one, the next one. Down the road, if anybody's not going, could I have your away ticket, please?
It's not going to sell out, Chris. You can get in the home end.
I don't want to be in the home end. Don't know where they're at. They've moved it all around, but obviously it's down the road from me. Southampton hosting Leicester City. The guys earlier a little bit disappointed with this. Obviously, I'm not, because if I can get a ticket, there won't be a watch. Well, you'll be doing the watch along for that because I'll be going down. And I have to say, the last two times I've been to Southampton, I saw a 9-0 and a 5-0, both of them to Leicester City. So you're going to have to hope that I get a ticket.
Don't take me. I've seen 1-0 defeats there. That's it.
So how do you feel about that?
Oh, pretty meh, like everyone else, mate. I mean, I kind of feel like we wanted something a bit more exciting than this. And the thing is, I mean, the only good side to this is Southampton seem to be declining more to our level at the moment somehow. I don't know how they've managed it because they were looking incredibly good the last time we played them, right? But I see this being a pretty nothing game. I don't think this will be high scoring by any means. I think both teams will be very similar. So it's a bit underwhelming. But hey, if we get through and we end up getting an interesting game, then so be it. I joked around with the boys. I would like to see us play a Premier League team, see what 4-2-3-1 against 4-2-3-1 lines up.
Yes.
It'd be interesting to see how bad we are.
Well, I mean, do you think that this is a game that we can win? I mean, look, come on, they're in the same division as us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is. I think it is a game we can win. I think it'll be a tight game. And once again, it depends on the silly old thing I normally say, which is very obvious, which Leicester will turn up. I mean, if it's the Leicester that turned up and beat Derby away, then I think we can win this game. I think it's very winnable. And it depends, obviously, what teams we put out. But we know with Marty, the ground he's stood on right now, he will go pretty strong for this. He won't want to be any excuses about team selection. So no Jake Evans, I'm afraid, mate, probably.
Don't start me on that. Go back and look at the previous show if you want to know my thoughts on Jake Evans. Wrexham Ipswich, that's going to be interesting.
That is, yeah, that's going to be a bit of a slobber knocker, to use an old wrestling word from America. That's going to be an interesting game. That I see some goals in this one, but
when you say wrestling, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's television, isn't it? It's like any TV. All TV's fake, guys. I mean, just because it's wrestling, But anyway, it's entertainment. But yeah, I think Wrexham for this one, Chris, would be my prediction. I just got a feeling they'll enjoy this cup run, and obviously Ryan Reynolds will probably be hanging around there, or Rob McElhenney. So yeah, I'll go for Wrexham.
Having a drink before the game with Ed Sheeran, probably. Next two games, look, you got to say your bunny would be on Arsenal and Chelsea, wouldn't they? Really.
You would, but I'd say the whole game versus Chelsea obviously has become a very interesting one because of the managerial situation at Chelsea. I mean, would he have expected to have gone back to Hull this soon? Bearing in mind he was in charge of them last year, but he went to France. I don't think so. So isn't it funny how life has brought him back? I mean, that's a game where I'd say Chelsea are probably going to pump six past them if they can. But I think Hull might score. And I think that's because Liam Rosini will say to his players, I want to show this chairman up.
Yes, yeah. No, fair play. Burton, West Ham, I think that could be a bit of a shock, to be honest with you. I think West Ham, they got through. only just. But I would fancy an upset there. Burnley, who put 5 past the weekend, have got Mansfield Town. Again, an old championship, Norwich City versus West Brom. Port Vale versus Bristol City. Grimsby versus Wolves. Now then, Aston Villa versus Newcastle. It's the only all Premier League tie in it. Brad was saying, strange that, isn't it? I don't think these things can't be fixed, but there you go. Aston Villa against Newcastle. That's going to be a very good game, isn't it?
I think, well, it's one of those that will either be 0-0 or it'll be something special, won't it? Depending, because they have games like this, or sometimes they match up against each other. But yeah, I mean, you look at those two teams in particular and go, like, they look at this competition, go, we could probably win this, especially if we get on a run of form, right? So it is a big game in regard to that for both Villa and Newcastle.
Yeah. Man City versus Salford City or Swindon. I'd love it to be, no disrespect to Swindon, because they really could do with the money. They are struggling, but Man City versus Salford City, one of the lesser-known Manchester derbies. But you'd expect Man City to go through that. Macclesfield, will they be disappointed with a home game against Brentford?
They said they kind of were. They were a little bit, because they openly admitted they wanted like a top 6 team, which is, but then,
they weren't exactly giving away any state secrets, were they?
No, exactly. That's it. But Brentford are going to give them a good game, there. And I mean, it'll be a real difficult challenge that for Macclesfield, because Brentford are the informed version of Crystal Palace right now, right?
And if you could argue that Brentford are actually a top 6 side at the moment.
They are indeed, yeah. So yeah, it is actually a pretty big game for them, So no, I think it's a fair enough draw,
And we finish with the Birmingham City versus Leeds. And again, yeah, I mean, Leeds, they're concentrating obviously on trying to stay in the Premier League. They are 8 points clear, so they've probably not got a lot to worry about. But again, a possible upset. But you asked at the start, what was it you asked, sir?
I asked you if you were to pick a surprise winner of the FA Cup this year, because in some ways Palace were a surprise winner last year, weren't they?
They were.
And
I was going to argue that we were as well.
Well, exactly. There seems to be a trend going on here, because European football is more important for the bigger clubs, isn't it, Chris? He's going to go get the trophy now, guys. Watch out and hold it.
When you get the trophy.
He's going to say Leicester are going to win because he's such a good supporter, unlike me, who's going to be very, very disappointing for the chat. Chat, get your thoughts in as well. I mean, you can say who you think is going to win. I mean, if I say who I think is going to win, it's going to be Man City. I think Man City will probably win it.
Oh, yes. But no, I can just say I absolutely love that, because I was looking at getting one, because I didn't want to get a big one, obviously, because that was £300 for the Premier League trophy. I haven't got that sort of money these days. I've got to say, Wayne, thank you so very, very, very much for that. I love little Ricardo, because I could be sticking pins in him. I love the socks. I wore the.
Don't stick pins in Ricardo, Chris. You voodoo doll him. We needed to play. Is that why you've been playing bad for 2 weeks? You've been sticking pins in the Ricardo figure.
That is absolutely brilliant, Wayne. Thank you very, very much. Right, well, I'll tell you. Shall I tell you who my outside bet would be? Because you've got to say possibly Manchester City, but especially if they keep getting easy ties like this.
Yeah, get it in the chat as well, guys. Get in the chat your thoughts.
Yeah, my outside bet would be the winner of the Villa Newcastle game.
Interesting.
And I think it could be Villa. I think if Newcastle win it, I think that will give them the boost. I mean, at the moment, Newcastle are in 6th. So then, they had a bad start, but they're sort of up there now. So I think whichever one of those two gets through, I think will go on and win it. But I think it could be Villa. And if Villa gets through, they are my outside bet to win it.
Interesting. I'm going to go left field. I think they've got a hard fixture in this round, but I think if they get through it, bear in mind their league form has looked a little bit
Manchester
better.
City, you can't go for Manchester City.
No, I can't. No. But also, I'm building into it, Chris. Give me a little bit of rope here. But yeah, I think their league form's improved, and it was looking a bit shaky earlier on in the season. I think the team that I think could do it, but I think they've got a difficult game, is Leeds. I know that's a real
Wow.
left field one. And I tell you why, because I think against the bigger clubs as well, especially with the motivation of going for a trophy, they seem to find an extra gear now and again out of nowhere. They've done it this season on occasion and scored goals past these teams, right? So yeah, I'm going to shock everyone.
Now, as a Leicester channel, you've gone for Leeds.
Fuck you.
I've gone for Leicester to lose 4-0 and 5-0 this season, being a Leicester fan. I'm pragmatic and realistic.
No, I jest. Of course I do. Of course I do. I'd hate to see them win it though. But yeah, I think I mean, I can't see them. I think they'll get through against Birmingham because when I actually look at it, I think they are safer in their sort of than I thought they were in the Premier League, and Birmingham are on good form. But no, for me, Villa I've got as an outside winner. But if Newcastle were to win, I think they could as well. Do you know what we should do before the next round? And the next round of games is in, I think it's in February, isn't it? 14th of February, something like that?
Yep, it's Valentine's Day weekend. That is correct. We'll be in love with the FA Cup, that one, guys.
That was well remembered, wasn't it? Yeah, so we should have a show before then, and we should give our predictions as to who's going to go through.
We should indeed, guys. Yeah, I was pretty close this weekend. So, yeah, I'll be intrigued to do that with you, Chris. Yeah, definitely.
And I will be back from my holidays by then as well.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, so it'll be a good thing to do, won't it, guys? So, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do a bit more FA Cup preview, yeah.
Yeah. Tom, thank you very, very much indeed. Look, you've got to love the FA Cup. And when you see results like Macclesfield beating Crystal Palace, that is the magic, isn't it, of the FA Cup? And that's
it's
why
nice it still exists, despite the football getting so much money at the top. It's nice it can still happen.
It is. Like I say, that's why we love it. But I do get what was it said earlier about there should only be one cup competition. Maybe they should. They should. But thank you very much. Now you're very kindly standing in for me on Saturday for the watch along against Coventry. You've got lucky socks because you did a lot better when you were doing them. But I should be back. I think possibly be back for the post match.
Oh, brilliant! No worries, mate. Yeah, so we can do that definitely. Yeah, I look forward to it, guys. It should be a bit different. Obviously, I'll be doing the whole pretending to be Chris. So yeah,
I'm doing a better job than me. But all I'll say, guys, is just please keep an eye on Tom and make sure he doesn't miss any Leicester goals.
Especially if they're in our own half and they're quite special ones at that. Yeah.
You got me earlier. I owed you with that one.
I think it's the famous commentary quote of the year, isn't it? It's like, the goalkeeper's in the net and the ball's in the net. I think we score from the halfway line.
Yeah. Dworski here has gone, Arsenal must be favourites.
I fancy Leeds to knock Arsenal out. Prediction. Psychic ball.
Interesting. Clip these guys and we'll come back and remind him. Thanks to everybody that was in the chat. Really appreciate it. We'll be back next week with the normal championship review. Less games to cover, thank God. And I'll see you all tomorrow at 7:00, and we'll be having the Foxes Forum. Take care, everybody, and we'll gladly see you tomorrow. And if you've been listening via your favourite podcast platform, of course, thank you very much for lending us your ears. And what else have they got to do, Tom?
Don't forget to hype and like the video. And tell your friends as well. We want to get over 5K subscribers, guys. Come on.
Yes, we're at 4.5. We just tipped over 4.56. We'd usually get a couple extra for the watch along, and then we lose a couple because they've just joined us for the watch along. So there it is. Thank you very much, Tom. All the best, mate. I'll see you later in the week. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.